Hi guys, Simon from SLD Projects. Today we're bringing you back to our Culverstone job. As you can see behind me, the concreters are working away and we've just about poured slab 3 of 5. So to give you guys an idea of the sheer size of the house, the actual slab footprint itself covers 1,430 square metres. So due to the sheer size and the way that it's been engineered, we've had to pour this slab into 5 different major sections. And the reason we've done that is, one, because we can't pour the whole slab in one go. So the engineers introduced cold joints, and also, a lot of other things come into it. So the salinity of the site, what the geotechnical surveyor has found in the site, whether it's a slightly reactive clay site or a highly reactive clay site, which in this instance it is. So we programmed the site to pour slabs 1, 2, all the way through to 5, and there's also a couple of little infill slabs that need to go in with it. So in one of our previous meetings with the client, we've decided to get rid of a whole lot more soil on the site than originally anticipated. So we've had to actually put a stop on the job and bring the big machines back, so the big drop, the big excavator, to load a whole more soil from site. So, just to give you guys an idea, we're anticipating probably another 60 truck and dogs that need to go. And that's why we sort of, tell our clients, and we actually encourage, fortnightly meetings, so that, they can obviously see the job progressing. And if, there's something that they're not sure about, or, there's something that they want to do in the meantime, like make a change, we can get it at the early stages rather than wait till everything's finished and done. That way there, it sort of, prevents any costly changes at a later date. I think of building almost like a game of chess. You've got your different pieces, which are your different trades and suppliers, and to achieve your certain goal, everything's got to be strategically placed or delivered or done at a certain time. So, with our clients sort of wanting to get rid of a whole heap of that soil, we've had to sort of contact all our trades and push the whole program. So for example, the carpenters, the frame's was coming in 2 weeks. I've had to push that back 2 weeks to 4 weeks now, sorry. They'll have 2 weeks to install that frame, and then when that 2 weeks is up, the other frames already come for them to install. So we try to be as organised as possible, and we always make the client aware of what's coming up in the next 2 weeks or the next month, and we use our project management software and we share the program with the client so they know what is coming up in 2, 4 weeks, monthly, or even quarterly, or all the way through the track. So we spend a lot of time at the beginning of the job working out the program for every trade, every supplier, just so the client's got a real idea of what needs to come and when it needs to come. And if something does happen or something does need to change, they also have a clear understanding of what the ongoing effects are once we either pause the job or need to make a change. So look, I'll take you guys down to the slab and I'll give you a bit more information about, what's been happening with the job, where we're at, and why we're building it the way we are. So come along. So we're down on the first slab that we'd poured. So we've dedicated this area and we've called it the east wing. So this part of the whole dwelling is the secondary dwelling. So on one site, you can have, ultimately it's called a dual occupancy. So you can have 2 dwellings on the site. In this instance, they're attached. And when they're attached, they need to be segregated by a fire-rated wall. So once we've benched the site out with the big machines, which we sort of brought you through on the last video, we ultimately, because it's a high salinity site, we need a blinding layer, and that's sort of like the grey sand that you sort of see around, just to provide a buffer between the existing ground and the underside of the slab. It also creates in levelling out the actual base of the footprint as well, and levels out everything that goes on top of it. High salinity sites, again, we need to use high impact plastic underneath, and that's what they also call the waterproof membrane barrier under the slab. So that stops the moisture or the dampness coming up through from the ground into the slab and inside. So that's very, very important. And also 32 MPa is a minimum requirement for high salinity sites. That's what we're using throughout the whole job here. Other key points in regard to this job. So again, I recommend on every single job that we do get a geotechnical surveyor to come out and do some test holes on site so we know exactly what soil we're dealing with. That report then goes to the engineer, and the engineer then designs the reinforcement, the thicknesses, and the layout of the slab to incorporate the findings that the geotech has found. So very, very important. In this job, due to it being a highly reactive clay site, he's actually stipulated N16 bars to replace the standard 12 mil that we normally use for an M-class site or a moderately reactive clay site. So to give you a walkthrough, so at the moment we are standing in the garage of the secondary dwelling, and then pretty much through here, we've got the front door over there. There'll be a sliding door heading out to the pool. And then you can see these areas we've stepped down the slab. So you might ask, why do we step down a slab? In the areas that we're putting minimal coverage on top of the floor, so if we're direct sticking floor on the slab, or we're only putting a small bedding to go on the tiles, one of my pet hates is actually a step between the main living area going into the wet area. So because we require more thickness and we want the two finished floor levels to finish even, we've got to incorporate falls in the wet areas, and to incorporate that different thickness, that's why we've designed the slabs to have a step down with them. So this will be the main bathroom. We've got bedrooms. We've got another bathroom over here, and then also we've got another sliding door that obviously steps down onto an alfresco, which can lead you out into either the pool pavilion slab over here, which I'll take you to next, or into the main area, which we are going to start on next, which is the pool. So just to give you a bit of background about the pool, there's a lot of work that goes into a pool, and the first one is excavation. So as this house has been designed to wrap around the pool, and you can sort of see that the slabs, again, 1 of 5, we're working our way out from the back to the front of the job so we don't box ourselves in. So speaking with the client at our regular meetings, we've sort of come to the decision that we are going to do the pool now and not leave it to the end. At least get the structure in, and then we can finish it at any time. So get the heavy machinery, get the concrete works done, and then we can come back and finish it at any time. So I've touched on how important the whole planning process is, and sort of preparing a program in what's going to happen in the job. But even pre-construction is very important as well. So at the beginning, we ensure that, obviously the drawings need to be up to scratch. The more time we spend at the beginning of the job planning and preparing and putting this information onto good quality drawings is very, very important. And along with that, the also chosen selections. So before pouring any slab, we've got to ensure that we can get our services to where they need to be. So, after we bench the site and the concrete's come in and they've boxed up the site with formwork, the plumber's got to come in and he's got to put all his pipes in for the sewer, of course. But we just can't put the pipes anywhere. So different toilets have different specifications, and the waste of the toilet needs to go in different areas. Sometimes they've got to go on the wall. Sometimes they've got to be set, an offset from the wall. Is it a wall hung vanity? Are we having a strip drain versus a floor waste? So all these locations will depend on what the client, what their desired finish is on the job. So highly recommend spending the time at the beginning of the job, choosing selections and detailing the wet areas and the kitchens, because these are the main areas that have a lot of different fixtures and fittings. So again, guys, just to give you a sheer idea of the size of the job and the slab footprint. So that slab over there took 50 cubic meters of concrete or thereabout. The pavilion that I'm standing on now took 40. And over there on my left, the west wing that we are pouring today took another 50 to 55 cubic meters of concrete. So generally with the slab, if they're programmed well, we allow up to 2 weeks. So after we've given them a nice flat area, form workers come in. Generally it takes them 1 to 2 days to form up the edge boards. Plumber then comes in, spends generally 1 to 2 days to do all their internal plumbing points, and these points here need to be inspected by here in New South Wales by the Department of Fair Trading. Once they've been inspected, the plumber can backfill, level off. By then, we've had the steel reinforcement company deliver, and in this case, what we call the pod package, which includes the waffle pods and the steel accessories. So the concreters are come back in after the plumber. They'll lay some plastic down, which is the waterproof membrane, the high impact plastic, lay down the plods and the steel at the same time, and finish off the edge boards ultimately, which is the rebate for brickwork, which we've got in a brick veneer construction here. And then prior to pouring, very, very important, any part of the job prior to pouring concrete, it's mandatory to have the private certifier, whether it's council or whether it is in fact the private certifier, to come and inspect the steel. And also on all our jobs, we get the engineer to come and do an inspection as well to ensure that both the person, which is generally the concreter installing steel, and the builder haven't missed anything and it's done all right. Because once you pour concrete, you can't go back. So behind me, you can see the boys are almost finished slab 3. So slab 3 being the west wing of the house. So, it's a combination of storeroom, bedrooms, bathrooms, and living areas. So the boys are on there. You can see with the trowel machine, they're stripping formwork on the same day, and by the end of the today, we'll just have a slab nicely curing. And what we also do just before leaving for the day, we've actually put a concrete curing agent on top of the slab. So old school, we used to come in the morning and water the under slab straight after with a bit of a spray. Next morning, next afternoon, just to stop the amounts of moisture getting released from the slab. So what this curing agent does, ultimately, it seals and traps all the moisture in the slab. And this product, as long as it's given enough time in direct UV sunlight, ultimately just disappears. So we don't have any issues with adhesion later on if we're direct sticking some tiles or some flooring onto it. So guys, I'm actually standing inside where the new pool is going to go. So in an upcoming video, I'll bring you guys the details about the whole process of the pool and let you know what's involved. But we've got the machines coming back next week, dig the big hole, start getting rid of the soil. Once we've done the pool and we've excavated, we'll then bring the trades in to start preparing the steel and the concrete. But in the meantime, just due to the size of the job, while this pool's getting poured, we're not going to stop, we're going to keep going. So while we're starting to steel up the pool, we're going to form up obviously slab 4 and slab 5. And again, programming so important. In 3 weeks' time, we've got the east wing the east wing frame coming, followed 2 weeks after that by the west wing and the pavilion. And we're just going to have a knock-on effect for the different 5 areas. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm just trying to give you guys as much information again about what's involved in the build, what the process is, and different things that need to be flagged or just need to be aware of. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm trying to be as informative as I can and sort of show you the process that we take our clients through, and we encourage them again with the fortnightly meetings because we want them to be involved with the whole process, because ultimately they're building their dream home, their forever home, their entertainment home that they're going to live in for a long time. It's normally one of the biggest investments they're ever going to make. So I want them to be actively involved with the process. So keep tuned for the next video. See you then.